Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make or how to use remote events. If you see some stuff in output, that's because my stuff crashed while I was making the video already. So let's get started with this. So I'm going to start off by making a button. So to start a GUI, I'm going to press the plus and insert screen GUI. Just going to rename this to UI. I don't know why I renamed it. Then I'm going to add in a text button. Can move this button down. Let's make this say, I guess, print beans. Let's scale this up. So now I'm just gonna rename this to button print beans B. It's a good idea to rename your buttons or your objects in your workspace because it's just more organized and such. So in print beans plus or B, I'm gonna press the plus and insert a remote event. A remote event has a little electricity logo on it. I'm just gonna rename this to print beans. Then in print beans B, I'm gonna press the plus and insert the script. You want to use remote events because, for example, let's say you have leader stats. If you add a leader, so let's say you have leader stats and you have a cache value in the player list. Let's say for you, if you weren't using a remote or if you weren't doing this on the server and you were doing it locally, the effects are only going to apply to your local client. So pretty much only you will see the 1000 cache in the leaderboard, but when someone else looks at your cache, it'll be 0 because it wasn't added to the server. It was only added to your local client, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna name this to set print beans. Now in our script we can remove this and we can do script.parent.printBeans.onServerEvent connect function. Pretty much this gets when print beans is on, when it is fired, like on its event fired, it'll run whatever is inside of here. So we could just do print beans test. And if you would like to know how to get player in a function, in here you just input player because it's just gonna get the players like location they sent it from, I guess. So now we can close that. If we go to print beans B, press the plus and insert a local script so we can fire our remote. So it's going to be fire print beans. In here we can remove this and do script.parent.mouse button one clicked connect function. This is just going to get when the parent is clicked, which is the button, and the mouse button when clicked is pressed, which is the left mouse button. Now we can do script.parent.printBeans fire server. Now let's go ahead and test this out. Hit play and let this load up. As you can see our output, we press print beans and it's printing beans on the server. We press F9 in game and we go to the server. I'm not sure, that's just to send in stuff. But yep. Now for example, I'll show you a leader stats example in server script service. I'm going to press the plus. I'm going to make a quick leader stats script. So we'll gain the player added connect function player local stats equals instance dot new folder player stats dot name equals leader stats local cache equals instance dot new number value stats cache dot value equals 0 cache dot name equals cache. This just gets when the player joins the game and passes player, so it sets that as like a local variable, I guess you could say. Creates a new instance, which is a folder, parents it to the player, renames it to leader stats, makes a new value called a number value, and puts it in the stats, sets the value to 0, and renames it to cache. If you would like a more in-depth tutorial on how leader stats work and what each line actually means, then I have a tutorial for that if you'd like. So let's go to set print beans and we can remove this line. We can now do to player dot leader stats dot cache dot value plus equals 1. Just gonna make sure, yep, cache. Now you can rename everything, like add stats. I guess I can rename everything to stats, and we can print like added stats. We can close this. Now we can go to fire add and rename this to add stats. So now we can go ahead and give the game a bit of a try. Well, I'm just gonna change the text just because it just feels right, I guess. I can hit the play button and I can show you here. So as you can see, oh, print beans not a valid. Oh, my bad. I forgot to change the name of this to add stats. So make sure you change this if you're gonna rename everything. Now I can close the script and hit play. And Roblox Studio giving me errors, of course. So we have our output open. We hit add stats. As you can see, it says added stats on the console, and it says cache 1 here. So you can click that as many times as you want, get as many stats as you like, as much cache. So let's say, for example, there were multiple people inside of our game. So it's like player 1, me, player 2, and player 3. If you were only using a local script, so only this script, and let's say in here, instead of this, you had, like instead of this, let me comment this out. To comment something out, just press Control and slash while it's selected. It's pretty useful. Instead we just had this inside of our local script. Then every time we would click the button, it would increase, yes, and you would probably be like, oh, that's what I meant for it to happen, our stats to increase. But the problem is, the other player in the game, when they look at the leaderboard, they'll see your cache as 0 because it's happening locally into your client. So this number would be 0 for everybody else. And it would also look weird for you if there were like 10 people in the server. You would have like 10,000 cache, everyone else would have 0 because it was only added on their client. That's why we fire a remote instead of having or adding the stats on the client itself. It pretty much just prevents, or well, it's not the best against exploiters, I will say this. Exploiters can easily get this function and fire it themselves, possibly modifying data, I'm not completely sure. But if you use this properly, this can be useful for pretty much just making everything work for other players, like guess server-sided damage. So let's say you damage a player, you don't want the damage to appear only for you, but the player is actually still on max health. Guess that could be an example. So hopefully this video helped you, and bye.